Hello. You might probably help everybody. Which we have. Probably know our left word the first time. Left word. Read the result. Article 1, 2. Use the identity. All right, so on the ballot, we have three positions for third select board member. We have Julie Castle, the 140 votes. Lisa Johnson, the 100. We have two blanks and a 0. Here we have 18 blanks and 15 minutes. And for the representative, we had 101 votes, Richard, 2 votes, 3 blanks. And we also have the only thing involved. And that passed, either yes vote, 43 or no vote. And I just want to make folks aware, we have refreshments at the back, I think the fire department. Here. And, safety. If I do.
Good morning, everybody. Please rise with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
And, I'm going to ask, the front name, where Technology. Speak with technology. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for all of you coming today. I love things. And like April, this is the first time coming on this side. And like you for 27 years. So it's a little bit. One of our major goals this year has been to really be. So you see that we are recording today. I also want to point out that we have to meet every week, and anything that you ever want to know about what is done and what meeting is freely available, is saved, so you can see it anytime you want to. The other way that we try to be really transparent is in our finances. And Ashley and Gabe and Jeff have done a tremendous job for that. What you see today is really, that's something else. Thanks to Jeff and turn it over to him. So it hopes that by the end of his little talk, feel good about all that we're doing.
Thank you, Don. What I'd like to say is, since we're here, but so that's why I want. The first page says that financial position is the position. As I said, it's in abilities. You'll note that we're starting off this year with almost $21,000 in debt. And that's also at an interest rate of less than 3%. So financially, we're very strong. Unappropriated surplus talks about the amount that we have that's in the bank that isn't targeted for. So that's available as reserve to use to keep down the tax rate. And the cash position gives you an idea of how much money we actually have in the bank. At the beginning of the month, we had 1.26 million in the checking account. And again, and what's new this year also is that we're earning a fairly decent rate of interest. In the past, a year ago, it would have been 5 cents on the dollar. Now, 0.5 cents in. Now we're doing 4%. So that's that side. The other side that what we're also trying to do is to make sure that our reserve account, these are dedicated accounts. So we set aside money for special purposes. So the back side of that page explains the reserve accounts as they were as of last year, and what new ones we're proposing. We've seen as we go through the warrant, we're proposing some new reserve accounts. The next page is showing you what we're proposing for this year's budget, as well as what we have for the last 3 years. So hopefully that help answer many questions about how this year compares to others. If you look at the bottom line, the total is roughly slightly less than what we had last year's budget. And that's important. The questions I'm sure everyone has is if we approve all the warrant articles, what's taxes? And the short answer is we don't expect taxes to go up. In fact, we expect taxes to possibly go down because right now the budget is about the same as last year. We have not fully gone through the assessment of the new value, the new profit is looking at. So if anything, the pool that we draw taxes against is going to be really bigger. So we're quite confident that there will be no increase to the taxes because of this budget. And the last little, this one page, this is also started tracking where we stand with last year's budget because we have almost $400,000 that was easily seen as not being spent last year. This is very fiscal year. And in fact, just what happens when we don't spend the money is it goes into surplus. That's how that keeps building up. And so this is money now that from this current year will be able to use for next year. And that again is how we're able to hold on your tax rate. There's this ones to do what is having to approve the tax rate.
who would be the town staff, me, Ashley, and April. It has nothing to do with the, just those people. Yes, it is nothing for him. Mr. Moderator, may I suggest an amendment?
They would normally, should be getting. Is that good? Your David? David's Allen, West Shore Road. I think perhaps Dee Dee could shed a little light on this and answer some of your questions. Richard, she's done some research, I understand, and perhaps April has also, and will fulfill your requirement for more information. Yeah.
All right, other discussion on the amendment only, yes, right here.
I can, may I ask questions about what is proposed by the select board?
Very
Okay, my questions are, what are the projected costs for the next 5 years? And do you have any data on that? And if they choose not to elect any benefits, can you explain to the town what they then can collect as a stipend? And the average of hours that the employees work as opposed to full-time, stipulations, laid out by the Department of Labor.
I'm trying to remember all of your questions.
I can go.
First question was, I don't remember what the first question was, but the hourly, hours worked, per week, actually, that is how much? 30?
25.
No, closer to 25, it sort of varies. April is also 25?
Well, no, I was like, if you average up
If you average it together, yes, average together is about 25 hours. I don't think any town has, of our size, at least has full-time employees. What will it look like in 5 years? We're not sure. Most other towns are just starting the same. We are. A lot of other towns, I think I'm gonna let Dee answer that question because they have actually done a whole lot of research.
There are two towns, one, Alna. She works 25 hours a week. She has an assistant that works 15 hours a week, I believe. She gets paid. It's like $42,000 plus she gets $1,500 a month for a stipend. Yeah, 42,000 she gets for a salary for 25 hours, and then she gets $1,500 a month for health insurance, which comes to 18,000. Pittsburgh, at their town meeting last week, just raised their health insurance to keep their people because they're losing people. They raised it to 100% employee and 75% for the family, and they work an average of 30. Just making a comment that.
Because the intention of the amendment is to propose a wholly different system than the intention of the main motion on the floor, I am going to allow fairly wide discussion, but always remember, we're disposing of the warrant of the amendment either by approving it, which will then take us back to the main motion as amended, or defeating it, which will leave us back to the main motion as proposed. That doesn't mean that I want a lot of give and take between audience members. You may ask specific questions of either the amendment proposal or the original motion. And the second point I would make is you'd be wise not to hold up my town as a model community.
I just want Lori Hernandez. Lori Hernandez on Old Road. I was curious, is $60,000 for the purposes for next year? I assume that's for next year, for 3 people?
Yes.
That's $20,000 a piece, essentially.
That was our first rough estimate, that I was hoping to offer a counter amendment, but that hasn't happened.
Yeah, I don't know, all I have in my mind is what you get with Obamacare, so I don't know with regular insurance of $20,000, it seems like it might be higher, maybe Obamacare is cheaper, I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna attempt to look at this a little bit.
Right.
I'm gonna make an attempt to perhaps simplify this discussion and get us back to the warrant. I'm gonna recommend that folks vote against Richard's amendment here with respect to Richard and the work he's put into it. What the staff is looking for is health benefits, which many towns across the state are adopting. The economy has changed a lot in the last couple of years, and so overwhelmingly towns are moving this direction, towns all around us. And it's just a necessity, it's a basic human right, and something that people need with health insurance. We do not want to get into the weeds with you guys about what's full-time and what percentage is, and health insurance is extremely complicated. And if we are going to discuss the nuances of health plans here, we're going to be here all day.
Yeah.
What the staff would like, and what Donna is going to eventually move to amend, is a range of costs so that the select board and the staff after this meeting can get into the weeds and we can negotiate and come up with a plan that works for the town financially and for the employees and our families. So if you vote down Richard's amendment and we get back to the original thing, and Donna can amend it, so rather than 60, we will have a range where we can negotiate. We will figure all this out after the meeting. You guys will have to go through it with us.
I just find it complicated, but I just want to say one thing. This time we do, we get the best care, but the way the medical with the insurance is going on, and if we had a 10% tax, it would take care of all the stuff like the rest of the Western world. It's crazy, just like you said, it's a human right. And that's what I'm gonna say, and that's what I'm. Yes, sir.
Since one of the aims of this is to keep, good employees and attract employees, I recommend we go down Mr. Marie's recommendation, that that's locked in, approve the first measure, and let them negotiate and, take care of that part. We, keep the employees happy and attract good employees in the future. Specific, we could argue for that. Yeah.
My name is Kate Wagner. I had to send myself an email, so I would remember what I wanted to say here. And I would like, if everybody, regardless of what the discussion is here, I want you to all think about this. One, we've had a tough year at the town office, we've lost a lot of institutional memory. And it takes a long time to build that back. We're very fortunate that we have excellent to do that. They have a very good learning curve going on, and they work. When you talk about hours in the West Carolina town office, I want everybody to know the hours you see on paper and the hours that people get paid for have nothing to do with the hours that they put into the town office. Because unlike Walnut, we have a huge summer population, and if people come only on the weekends, and that's the only time they can register their votes, it's the only time they can get married or whatever. People always come in, they spend a lot of time at the town office or working from home to meet people's needs. And we have to appreciate and recognize that. We drive the recycling to the dump. We do so many things that are part of what needs to be done to run this town office. When I started as a town clerk, there had been 5 town clerks in 7 years. That wasn't because we didn't have good people. Westport has always been great people. The problem was that there was no training, because with people gone, there was nobody to train them incoming. The other thing is the state was transitioning from a paper system to a computerized system. And people who had grown up on the paper system did not want to do that transition. So what we had is constant turnover. When I came in, we were actually at the point of being sanctioned by 2 separate entities because we weren't meeting our state mandated responsibilities in the town office. We were actually the red-headed stepchild of looking. The first time I went to a public budget meeting that was county, that was more than just our town. They treated me with a doesn't send representatives so that their people can sign up and vote. And that is not what we want, and that is not what we have now. And the reason you still see me waiting around when I keep on working on my garden is because whether it was Julie or Martha, or whether it's Ashley or April, I didn't want them coming into the same situation that I mentioned. When we had a transition in the town office this last year, we did not attract applicants, go figure. I want you to know again, when I started, we have a listserv for town clerks that goes throughout the state for all the municipalities. And at that time, when I started, you would see probably 6 to 12 positions open in a year on the listserv for town clerks, treasurers, all that. Now we're seeing at least 6 a month. It has become very competitive post-COVID, election deniers. It's become fairly competitive because people have been threatened. They get a lot of grief, and people don't want to have to put up with that. The environment has become very competitive. So what's happened is people are offering healthcare because they can't get people. The one applicant we had for Julie's job before April came to the plate. The position did research, and because we did not have health insurance, rejected her position. And she was a town clerk, had experience, but she rejected the job because there wasn't healthcare in this position. And people, although we increased salary rates last year, that was competitive then based on a lag wage survey from around the state. But again, post-COVID, that has really changed. If you went back to that same survey today, it would be a lot higher than it was when we used it to buttress salaries last year. So I would just say, we have a great staff, we need to build the institutional memory and the backbone of the town office staff. Select board members are political, they come and go, and they will come and go. But we need, because probably at least half of what we do at the town office, state mandated responsibilities, they don't go away, it doesn't matter who's in charge. So we need to support these people, we need to get back institutional memory and that office, because it will run more efficiently and we will have savings in other ways. And there are, again, are lots of things, they all serve on committees, they help write grants. I can guarantee, when I was town clerk, and since I've been town clerk, I brought more money into this town than you ever spent on me, because of grant writing and so forth. So I am just asking you, please support this town office.
So a few questions. Now.
I agree with a lot of what Jay had said. Needs for recognition of the hard work of people. And I think that perhaps we're underpaid. You know, that is some substance of what she had said. They're putting in a lot of work, they're not getting compensated for it. But that is a table. Is our solution to that, to give each one of them $20,000? Is that it? Because that's what this proposal is. And therefore, I would suggest we should look at their salaries, which are part of the upcoming warrant articles. Think they're working, and we know that they're harder than they're getting paid for that. We ought to give our consideration for that there, so that they can decide how they want to spend their money. And perhaps a $20,000 bonus to each one of them. That's a different issue, I think. So that's what I wanted to say. Gay is right on the efforts with the work. If our employees not being compensated, we need to do that. Or our citizens.
Jack Swan, I'm just gonna ask a question about this. We may be misinterpreting what this is saying. I don't think this is actually saying that each person will get $20,000. What this is, the original article is saying, asking to enter this participation to see where that leads. And I think the $20,000 per person, if you want to think of it that way, is really sort of a cap. In other words, they won't be able to spend any more money. That's all that we would be allowing. It may well be that next year we'll see that they only needed 40, something like that. So, is that true? This isn't the amount of money you're going to dole out. I didn't think so.
Okay, she's not in agreement. Back on, yeah.
Stacy Hutchinson, Fire Chief. Would members of the fire department be eligible for health insurance? I understand they're contractors, but in a way they do fall under the town. And I wonder how that would fall.
It's by the maintenance school health trust, you have to have a 20, if you're an employer, or it has to be 20 hours minimum to qualify for the benefit. Plus elected employees, elected officials. Though elected officials have financial advantage of that. Well, unfortunately.
Somebody who has not spoken.
I asked that we move the motion that's on the docket right now, please.
I have a motion to close debate. On the amendment. That does not preclude further discussion. In fact, it requires further discussion when we get back to the main motion. I have a motion and a second. Close debate on the amendment. And I believe that requires 2/3. You hold on.
Very far discussion.
Amendment debate is and it is not debatable. All you can do now is vote on the question of closing debate. You're still going to vote on the amendment, but no more discussion. That's the mandate laid upon me by the only Bible I have for running these affairs. Those in favor of closing debate, no more discussion on the amendment, raise your hand. Those opposed to closing debate, who wish to continue the talk, more than 2/3 have voted to close debate. We will now vote on Mr. Degree's amendment, which I will read one more time. Moves that the street town employees be given the stipend of the average hours worked per week divided by 40 times the cost of a family plan, and that the family plan amount be set at $15,000 for the coming fiscal year and $30,000 be raised. Further, an ad hoc committee should be established to determine a formula that will determine the average cost of a family plan for future years. Those in favor of that amendment to the original motion, raise your hands. 6 or 7. Those opposed. The vast majority. The amendment has failed. We are back to the main motion and try to move this along. You had an amendment in mind.
When we originally started talking about this, we just gave some rough numbers, not even taking into consideration the fact that we know that in January we go up pretty and toll prices are going to go up. Since we've done further research, I'd like to propose this amendment because, as Jack said back there, this is about being able to negotiate. We want room to negotiate. The amendment to see if the town will authorize the select board to negotiate with the staff and healthcare providers affordable healthcare options. And to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate $100,000 to pay health benefits from the town office staff. We realize that $60,000 isn't enough. It's the worst case scenario. The amendment is also to provide space to negotiate between the worst plan and the best plan. We don't anticipate spending $100,000, just give some negotiating possibility. So we probably won't spend that. And it's not like any individual is going to get that money. It's part of what would be considered health benefits. And I also want to comment on, I don't remember whose comment, Bill's comment.
When you do, I need a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, what I also would like to say is, I was at a training on Thursday and somebody had just done some research on why aren't people coming into municipal government. And they asked the question, what is the most important thing for you? And it wasn't salary, it was health benefits. And I think everybody in the room will agree that if we work for health benefits, that is critical. And so I just want to offer that food for thought.
Do you have a written copy of that for your form moderator? You can have that. Qualifications for office.
The next teacher.
The town will authorize the select board to negotiate with the staff and healthcare providers for affordable healthcare options, and to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $100,000 to pay health benefits for town office staff. Is that pretty close?
Yep, and then the next one, and to see. There's another line, and to see.
I see notes, I don't see secondary consideration. Okay, the amendment is to raise $100,000 and to negotiate with the staff and with healthcare providers. That clean enough. Discussion on the amendment. Go ahead.
He really wants to, I am a municipal business, I have whatever. Even though we don't work. The hours that we do work are enough to get our jobs done at this time. Therefore, saving the town fuel money, meaning what we hours we do work necessarily. The average uptown only work 30 hours, not 40, and for the smaller towns. A few things that set our office apart from others. If a resident of Guilford real estate agent comes to see a tax card, plumbing permit, building permit for any particular property, we do our best to find it. It's in the office, we will find it for you. We don't turn you away and say, go call the plumbing inspector, go call codes, we try to find it. Board members. We let them know when we have mail, if they came in the mail or in the night box. And if they can't come in, I've been asked to scan it, email it to them. That saves them time. It creates time for us. Using the night box. Do multiple transactions. Most town offices don't have night box. Online registrations available in both motor vehicles, dogs. This all increases the paperwork on the town end office, on the town office. Because you get your stuff from the state, we have to log and follow everything and make sure we get paid for it. Accepting credit and debit cards, same thing, costs more paperwork to the town office when you do credit cards, we have to make sure we get paid for that. And that's above and beyond what we've been doing in the past, that's brand new this past year. Checking address labels for committees to ask us to before they send out mailing, they were posted. And Lord knows, the embarrassment might send it to a spouse if their spouse has passed away. We usually know that and can catch it before it moves out. Answering phone calls and emails after, how many of you here have got a phone call or an email after we're not in the office anymore? Calling insurance companies because people have forgotten their insurance card, and that's a state statute that I need to see that before you come in. Whether you don't have it, you can't find it, it's expired. We still need it, and we make that phone call. Bringing registration to the elderly that can't get out because they're housebound, or bring them out to the parking lot because they can't walk well enough to get in. We take the time and we do that. We answer multiple questions every day, and some things have nothing to do with the town business, which we're glad to do. As some of you know, my mom passed away 4 days after Martha gave us notice and left the office to work from home for her last 2 weeks. April, our new town clerk, had only been there a month. There was no way that I could leave her alone the following Tuesday and I went into work. The initiative contacted Ashley, who used to work at the Brunswick Town Office, knowing municipal government, and worked in the finance department. So together, the three of us have gotten through this transition. Comparing towns is like comparing apples and oranges. Each town may have multiple employees and do the same thing, or departments similar to us,
but no two towns are the same. No one job more important than another. We need them all. So even though we may get paid for 21, 25, and 30 hours, when we are at work, we are at work for you for more than 100%. I believe we have a responsibility to the financial health of our town, and I wouldn't be here speaking if I didn't believe this was crucial. We aren't asking for the best, but we do believe we deserve a decent plan to get our needs. I would also like to, while I'm here, publicly thank those members of the community. They remember us at Christmas with wreaths, cookie platters, and cards, and our summer residents and new residents that bring us wonderful food treats. I would like to end many of you know that my great grandmother had this position for 47 years in the town. She retired in 1978 at the age of 87. I would love to be able to serve you an entire year. That would mean that I would need to work another 18 years, as I have 29 in this summer. And if she can retire at 87, then I can retire at 78. And I do want to let you know, we have figures that the 3 middle plans that are on the MMA site, if we went with last year's mill rate, and just saying that it could go down. If we were given 100% for families, your tax would only go up 92 cents and $1 per tax.
Good job, Judy.
This man, every function is there laws when he's reading. I think it's all. But no right, children, what they deserve. Yes. I kind of ignored it.
Like Jason Gates, his retreat on that road. You know, I've been thinking about this a bit, especially when the new figures and the end of the war. Currently, the town office is open just 12 hours a day to the public. You know, there's certainly more hours than 12 hours to the public. But if you look at that, it's 624 hours a year, not including any holidays. So if you take 100,000 divided by 3, divided by 624 hours, that's $53.41 an hour. And if we're going to do this, maybe we look at extending the hours of the town office still in the public, is bring that down to something that we can. My work definitely doesn't have a kind that's this generous. You know, we do most of the public sector is not to help the towns that less of the benefits.
You're not. Dick Clark, let's work. I heard presentations from people and Jay, and in all those presentations, I've heard reasons why we should pass this.
Jim, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me? So I'm Dick Parker, Bay Shore Road. And so we've been hearing a lot of discussion from DVPA and April as to why we should pass this. And this is for personal reasons, you know, reasons that we can't quantify with numbers too well, particularly when they're not working, are working more than their request. And so that kind of, we, at least the purpose of doing a prorate, Richard was previously proposing, and also defeating the reason that basically they're speaking about. So if you take a look at this in an analytical way, our budget that is proposed at $60,000 is a 2.5% cost of business for doing this insurance. Raising it up to 100,000, then brings it up to 4% cost of business. That's a pretty trivial number to consider when proposing this thing. So I think this warrant item should pass at $100,000. Thank you.
John Murphy, 47 Petty Road. I just have a question. When you reference healthcare providers, and people you're negotiating with, are you referring to health insurers or healthcare providers?
Health insurance.
Could I make a friendly amendment to your amendment? Yes. That terminology change the health insurance?
Well, it's the MMA. It's really, yeah, it's really the MMA which provides the insurance. I don't know what the word was.
Not individual doctors and nurses.
Freeze, and then we'll go back to you.
Richard Freeze, Westport Island, 17 Ferry Road. So in effect, we are voting to give each of the 3 staff members potentially a $33,000 a year raise. Is that correct?
Give them health benefits.
At a cost of $33,000 per person, if it's $100,000 that we're going to approve.
If that's the healthcare cost, but this is more to negotiate.
The second question I have is that our R-12 family plans run about 15,000, somewhere between 14,500 and 15,000. So that on a family plan would bring it down to 45,000. If you got a good insurer to provide the kind of insurance that it could be, that's more affordable. And I don't disagree with Gay and Dee Dee that they're doing more hours. If they're doing more hours, make the office open more hours. Show us what you're doing, what they're doing, so we know what they're doing. Thank you.
Congressman, he would see his sausage being made. I think we're not getting you up. Yes, you.
Becky Ticketton, I just have a question, you keep referring to the MMA. Did you not try private insurance? Because I personally am shopping for insurance for a school and many teachers. And our rates are coming in for 5, a lot less than what you're proposing. So my question is that a restriction, a requirement by the government, by the state? Or are you able to shop around?
Because we want 100,000, so that we can, we start with MMA, who is the main network that they, who does offer insurance plan.
So I don't understand that then even more so, because my personal rates for 5 full-time teacher employees were a lot less than $60,000 for full coverage, family coverage. So I don't understand why you would increase it then if you're going to go out into the market.
We want to be able to negotiate and be able to, we're gonna start with MMA, we know what their rates are, we know what they offer. But we would also look elsewhere, and that's why we wanted to keep the negotiating internal, so that we can look at some various plans. We need to have some funds to get
Again, I just don't understand, it doesn't make sense why you would increase it. Instead of staying at 60, if you're going into the public market.
We've got a lot of hands over here. I. Then out of papers, the rest of the. Stand and deliver.
Joe Donahue, Petty Road. Just one question I have, has there been any negotiation done with the different providers of the insurance before we pay them? Roughly Southern Junction, people living on what's going on.
No, we weren't even sure whether what the town feelings were on it, so we looked at the very plan. We looked at the various towns as well as what MMA offered.
I'm not sure what it was, but I know at a prior meeting, the town had already approved through maybe the bill health trust. It just wasn't approved for the town to contribute anything. So I don't know, if we would have to stay with them or if we would be able to go elsewhere, but we already are contracted with them. We just pay 100% of anything that we want. I know you can get dental and vision, but it's at employee cost. But then with the insurance, it's already available to us, it's just not affordable.
Don't you believe that before you make a presentation to the electorate, that we have any choices?
We've already taught part of it in a system. And they can get home. It's just, they have to take the entire amount themselves.
And here, and we're going here.
Thank you. John Henderson, Shaw Road. I think what we're talking about now is making sausage. We're going to have hearings before the select board on the details of the plan. Everybody here will have an opportunity to say what they need to say or want to say or make suggestions about other alternatives, other plans. I think what we're talking about here this morning is giving them authority through this warrant issue to start that process. We're not going to start it. We sure as heck ain't going to finish it this morning. That's something that will happen later on, and we'll all be able to participate in that. The second point I want to make real quick, and I appreciate Mr. DeFreeze's point, is it's good to know what our staff is doing. And I'll just give you an example. When we moved in here, I made a call to the city staff to get a simple question answered about my vehicle registration. I called at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon or Thursday afternoon. I got a call at 7:30 that night from this person back here. We've all had those experiences. We know what they do. And we trust them, and we believe in them, and we support them. And I would ask for a yes vote on the amendment. Thank you.
Hi, Lori Harvey, briefly, I spoke earlier about the cost, and I forgot, the insurance I have sucks, so. Well, I pay $10,000 a year for it, it actually has almost $10,000 deductible. Right. So. On the vein of, you just called pension, we're really voting on whether or not we believe people should have health insurance that isn't sucky. And whether or not we want to keep our municipal employees in the future, or whether we want turmoil, because that's the way things are going. Whether or not you believe people should have insurance, and whether or not you trust your people who are running this process to actually do the proper thing. I trust our officials, and I do believe in health insurance, so I would vote to approve the amendment.
Doesn't all insurance start to 1 year? And
Bailey Bartlett, quote side. My question is, what would happen, so if the town approves $100,000, let's say, and only 60 of it is used? What happens to that 40,000 that is not used?
Saying what is on
It goes into our service. We keep it, it just helps flow the tax for next year.
I just wanted to say, and kind of support what Lori was saying, that we can elect these people, and we should trust our own best to have elected people. They're gonna make decisions, so they don't have to sit and wrestle with all the nitty-gritty of what the best plan is. They're not gonna sink us because we won't vote for them again. And so therefore, it's gonna make good research and good decisions for that.
Yeah, David Brett at the South End, I will be in discussion and vote on.
Yeah.
I now know that it requires a 2/3 vote, and it's mercifully not debatable. Amending debate only on the amendment Raise your hand. Those opposed, there, don't. The second proposed amendment, we now have before us to make a motion. 5 as read. Raise-
Vote on the amendment. 100,000.
You're close to date. On the amendment, $100,000. In favor? Opposed? Now, yeah, $60,750 and Article 5 as read. We're back to where we started.
Wait a minute. We voted yes on the amendment. That's what we thought we did.
Fairly, backwards failing. And. Okay, you did, you approved the amendment. The amendment stands, Article 5 as read, with $100,000. Do we like that?
Yeah.
What we got? As amended, Article 5. Any more discussion? Okay. Which seeks to allow, as amended, seeks to allow the selectmen to negotiate with the town office staff and health insurance providers for health insurance program for town office staff and to raise $100,000 for that purpose. Raise your hand if you approve. And raise your hands if you're opposed. Article 5, in the sum of $100,000 with negotiating ability on the part of the select board.
Thank you.
See if the town will vote to authorize the select board to spend the following amounts on compensation for the employees and officials listed below. And to raise $115,380.10 from taxation and appropriate $6,437.90 in revenue received during fiscal year 2023 from motor vehicle agency, lien fees, vital record fees, dog fees, shellfish fees, and mooring fees towards that purpose. And the amount proposed for each office and the proposed amount represents a 4.8% cost of living adjustment, except that your select board has opted not to take the cost of living adjustment. The total $121,746. I await a motion on Article 6.
Second.
Moved and seconded, Article 6 as read in the amount shown. Yes.
Can you please tell us what on, the North Road, when you say something, why do we go to 0?
That.
Why are we discussing sport care?
Because we didn't believe we needed it. So that money was used, for the chair of the Board of Assessors.
Okay, so that's not better than that.
Pardon?
That's not better than that.
No, it was one of our.
Okay. We have just raised, Richard has raised 17 Perry Road. We have just raised our staff salaries potentially by $33,000 a piece.
That's not true.
When you divide 100,000 by 3, that's
That's
about.
not a thousand. That's.
Further, I make a motion that the stipends for the select board be set at the fiscal 22-23 amount. The tax collector, assistant, and municipal agent be set at the 2023 amount. The town clerk of voters be set at 28,120. The harbor master be deleted from the list, and that $230,124 be raised. Further, I move that an ad hoc committee be established to determine the relatively hourly rate for similar duties for towns like Westport Island, with findings to be sent to all residents by 1 May 2024.
I'll need a copy of that. Is there, well, I may not, is there a second to that proposed amendment? As much as I like you, I do. It gladdens my heart to say, the amendment died for want of a second. The original motion is on the floor, $121,746 for salary. Any further discussion? Those in favor of Article 6, as I was read, raise your hand, vote your card. And those opposed? Article 6 has passed. Majority. 7. To see if the council will raise funds for an intern to help with the backlog of filing and scanning. Recommended $5,000 for this purpose. A motion.
So moved.
Moved, seconded, $5,000 for an intern for filing and scanning. Discussion. Okay. Yep.
Deputy Road, Debbie Martinez, has the amount of work that needs to be done, in the time and the amount of hours?
No, but take that back, we'll leave you.
Okay.
2.1. Town clerk's office has a backload of like April 6 to 8 posts of filing that needs to be done dating back to the early 2000s.
Oh, crap.
Because of the amount of work put on that. My office needs scanning. The motor vehicle, when you come in and register your vehicle, those get saved by paper copies. The state only keeps 5 years in their system. After that, I have buckets back from 2004, and I have used them. So we need to scan those, get them off the shelf. We have more room in our office. I'm scanning the last 2 years are already scanned in, but I need to go backwards and I don't have time to do it in my normal day.
Anybody else on Article 7? All right, those in favor?
No, I have a comment. On Article 7, we have a statement that says that 6,000 was raised at a special town meeting. My understanding of that $6,000 was that it would be used for the transfer from the old town clerk to the new town clerk as an hourly compensation for the extra hours that would have to be taken to do that. And that then the salary would begin after that 6,000 had been expended. But this article increases the town clerk's amount by $6,000. Read the note. Read the note.
Right.
One article.
$5,000.
That's not.
Filing and scanning. Raise your hands if you're in favor. Put them down and show me if you're opposed. Where you are. Right? See what's on the money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the social security and Medicare taxes to be paid for town employees. Select board recommend $12,000.
Move.
Move to second, $12,000 social security and Medicare. Town share. Any discussion? No. Those in favor? Those opposed? Passed. Article 9 will require a secret ballot vote. I will read it, though it goes to discussion. To see if the town will vote to exceed the property tax levy limit, LD 1, $654,694.63. Permanently, that was established for the town of Westport Island by state law, and the event of the municipal budget approved under these articles, the tax commitment that is greater than the property tax levy otherwise allowable.
So move.
Second. Moved and seconded. What this essentially says that if in your wisdom you raise more than the legislature several years ago decided it was proper for you to raise, you have to vote to authorize yourself to do it by a paper ballot. Discussion necessary? I hope not. Okay. Those wishing to vote, follow whatever protocol you're about to be instructed on.
Because I think you got maybe some questions.
If you wish.
Why the wording changed from last year's work to this year on that particular article?
And you're referring to permanently? It's so we don't have to do this every year. Because we need to pass it if we're gonna be able to pass the budget.
Okay, so will that still, if we needed extra funds or you wanted to increase the money around that's like, for instance, in the surplus, would we be able to vote on
Absolutely, you still vote on the budget, this is just us, because we don't have to stay with, roughly, that much smaller amount, this is basis, we don't have to take this up every meeting,
that? Okay.
we're just still voting on
On the budget and the use of the surplus?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And that wording recommended by our state certified staff. He was the one who told us to do that.
All right, here's this one. You're gonna come up here to this podium, maybe if you get a little circular motion, be most efficient. You're gonna grab a ballot, you're gonna mark your preference right here on the podium, there's a pen and pencil. You are gonna come on over here, put it in the ballot box. And I'm going to. My first, yeah, yeah.
That's support.
Use it.
Result voting on Article 9. Article 9, to refresh the memory, is LD1, base property tax, to be limited to one blank ballot, 5 no votes, and 53 yes votes. So Article 9, apparently in perpetuity, has passed.
The late will do that. That number changes every year.
Start with yourself. See what song the town will vote to raise and appropriate for many certified assessments to update assessment factors based on current values. Handle assessments on new construction, land split, transfers, state valuation return, and LD1, and for the consultation with taxpayers, preparation, and court time as required.
So
Select board recommends $10,000 to be approved.
moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, Article 10, as read, $10,000. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Article 11. To see what's on the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the boards and committees to pay operating expenses, including publication of newsletters and flyers, and to reimburse members for their out-of-pocket expenses. For the Appeals Planning Board Cemetery Committee, the total is $1,600, and that is the recommended amount to be raised. Motion. Motion second, Article 11, 1,600 as read. Discussion? Okay.
Article 6, it says. It is a note that was put in there that relates to Article 11. Increase from combined stipend with an expense allotment previously included in Article 11 or E911. Yet when you go to Article 11, E911 is not mentioned. Can you explain that, please, Michael?
It wasn't really a committee expense. It really was an expense that was associated with the E911 function.
No, it's why.
No, the Article 6 is trying to explain, why we had, more there than in the past. In the past, we didn't have the, just last year it was $426. And it's now higher by over 500, because we used to have $500 there. But it wasn't really a committee expense. So it was not. Well, it wasn't the right place. It's now where it is in salary. It was being used in salary for the E911 address costs.
As previously.
Now it's.
Okay, I thank you for that explanation.
Anybody else? Article 11. Those voting in favor? And those opposed to Article 11? None. 11 has passed. 12. To authorize the Right Lands Committee and Horticulture Committee to transfer funds not to exceed $2,000 from the Municipal Landing Fund for operational expenses. This is recommended by the Horticulture Committee, the Right Lands Committee, and the Select Board. Give me a moment. Second, Article 12, as you see it. Discussion. Voting yes. Voting no. Yes, prevails. 13. To authorize the Right Lands Committee to transfer funds not to exceed $10,000 to replace roofing materials on the Right Landing House from the Municipal Landing Fund. The Right Landing Committee and the Select Board recommend $10,000. So moved. Moved and second. Discussion. Voting yes, show me your cards. Voting no. 13 passes. Authorize the elimination of the Ferry Road to transfer the remaining funds into the Municipal Landing Fund, recommended by your Select Board. Move to second, 14. Discussion.
Can somebody tell us what it's in the account currently? I believe it's $243. It's actually in that background sheet, for the reserve account. We're closing down the reserve account, it's flat and 2 to 1.
Anybody else? Okay, first is voting in favor. Raise those yellow cards. Opposed? 14 has passed. Article 15. Anyone from the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the annual operation and maintenance, that is heating, utilities, lawn mowing and repairs of the town hall. The Town Hall Committee and the Select Board recommend $8,100 be raised by taxation. Article 15, moved and seconded. Discussion. Yes, ma'am.
This really fast. This is the historic building, and this is the only, committee that does not have a capital reserve account. Do we need to raise more funds for repairs to this building as it is on the historic register? Or staff is a capital reserve fund?
There is a capital. over $15,000. So if you look at the list of the capital reserve accounts, you see one there for the town hall capital.
Asked and answered. Anybody else?
Excuse me.
Ready, vote on Article 13 as read, $8,100. What?
Richard Coventry, right on Main Road. You said town hall, and we're talking about.
No. This.
Okay, that's it, go. Good, let's vote. I want to vote. Okay. Those in favor of Article 15. Those against Article 15. There are none. 15 has passed. Article 16, see if the town will approve transferring the history committee's unused fund, $1,720.83 to a history committee capital reserve fund. It's recommended by the history committee and the select board that you do so. So moved. Second. Article 16. Ready to vote? Do it. Oh. 15 has passed. Article 17. See what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the history committee to continue the collection, preservation, and organization of Westport Island's historical records and artifacts. The history committee and the select board recommend $500 be raised and any unexpended funds be transferred to the history committee capital reserve fund.
Second.
17, moved and seconded. In favor? Hold it. I will not shut you down. You may speak.
Never mind.
Town business and some come just to cause trouble. Favor. 17 has passed. Article 18. To see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the Conservation Commission to pay operating expenses, including members out of pocket expenses related to commission activities. These activities currently include support of the state-funded Community Resilience Partnership grant to complete a study of the island's groundwater, improvement of water access points, trail work, maintenance of the Cloud Point Town Preserve, and cleanup day on Westport Island. The Conservation Commission and the Select Board recommend $1,200 raised by taxation. Moved and seconded. Yeah. Those in favor? Those opposed? 18 is passed. Article 19. To see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for committee members to be covered under the blanket insurance package provided through the Maine Municipal Association. Recommended by the select board, $234 be raised to cover approximately 117 volunteer committee members and event volunteers. And they're blanket. Moved and seconded. Article 19. Discussion? None. Those in favor? Those against? 19 has passed. 20. See what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the administration budget, the town office operations and town office building maintenance. Select board recommend $66,630.
So. Second.
It's moved and it's seconded. Discussion, Article 20. Those voting in favor? And opposed? 20 is approved. 21. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $3,200 for contracted services, an annual on-call stipend, indirect costs, and response costs and investigations. The Special Services Division, Lincoln County Sheriff's Department for Animal Control Service. Part of the cost of this contract is defrayed by dog licensing fees collected by the town. It is recommended by the select board that you approve and appropriate $3,200 for animal control.
So second.
Moved and seconded. In favor? Opposed? 21 has passed. 22. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $3,700 for the CAI digital tax maps to fund the annual contracted hosting service and the annual update of tax map. Again, recommended by the select board. Tax map update, a motion
Second.
and seconded. In favor? Opposed? 22 is passed. Article 23. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $6,500 to the capital equipment purchases account for town office equipment. Approval is recommended by the select board.
Second.
Moved and seconded. No discussion. Those in favor? Those opposed? 23 is approved as read. 4. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $2,650 for archival preservation of original town records. Recommended by the town clerk's office and the select board as you approve Article 24.
Second.
Moved and I've got a second. I see no discussion. Those in favor? Those opposed? Article 24 is approved. 25. The town will vote to add funds to the revaluation capital reserve account in anticipation of the 2025 revaluation. Select board recommends $10,000 be raised for the capital reserve account.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Yes.
What is presently in that account?
About $9,000. It's on the list of accounts in your handout.
And
So can we anticipate we will be planning to do a reevaluation in 2 years? So we need to get, and that's gonna be a lot more than the $10,000.
who's in favor of 10,000 for capital reserve? Anybody doesn't like that? Everybody likes that. 25, approved. Article 26. See what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for contingent expenses and to authorize the select board to transfer funds to other accounts as necessary. Select board recommends you raise $15,000. I have a motion as read and a second. Those in favor, contingent expenses. Those opposed, 26 is approved as read. 27. To see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for a legal fund to be used on approval of the select board. Select board recommends $60,000 be raised, $15,000 available for routine legal services, and up to $45,000 available to cover costs regarding the Baker Road litigation.
Could I make just a little bit of information about how this is going on the Baker Road issue? The select board will have a mediation session a week to Wednesday with the other party, our attorney and their attorney. We believe we did reach an agreement in that mediation. We have not, that's not been signed off yet, but that agreement will have the force of the court. When under the office of the court and we registered with the registry of deeds. So the history we have about the line of the road and the property lines abutting the road, it should be resolved. Again, still fingers crossed about that. But so you should know, we tried not to spend that much money. And as you know, lawyers are not inexpensive. But so far this year, we spent less than $20,000, over $45,000 last year. So we're asking for 45 again. We're hoping we won't need it. Or at least not much of it. And again, so, you know, the money that we can't transfer back in the surplus is available to keep down taxes for next year. But that's where we stand with the Baker Road.
Could you just explain what actually is the problem on Baker?
We have a property owner on the corner of Baker Road and the main road who, disputes where his boundary is. And puts, stumps, other things into the road, the bigger road. It's also infringing on the state property line, putting stuff in the shoulder as well. But we can't enforce that, the state, is supposed to enforce it. But what we're trying to do is get that, everything out of the road, get agreement on where the road is, so that we don't have this problem. We were fortunate this year that we did, with the court order, get him to move back, the obstruction so we could plow. That was a big, fear that we had, is we, that's a big problem. But we hopefully are close to a resolution.
Thank you.
I just want to, I'm Janet Thompson, 914 Main Road. I wanted to create a little empathy for the individual who is having trouble with his boundaries. Went to the door to visit him when we were out helping with UC Johnson campaign. He's a really lovely man, a really, really lovely man. We talked about the history of this island and all of the places he used to be able to travel and go that he can no longer. Right, waterfront access that has been closed off because of the nature of the changes in private property. The beautiful places so in. And my heart was out to him. He told me stories about being a kid and going all over this place. And that when he grew up, it was like everybody had to be calm. So, yes, you shouldn't be walking with the road. People need to see. They get hit on one for which people try to back on. But he also is an amazing individual with a lot of history, and it would be wonderful when you could invite him to tell his stories of his childhood and why he's not. I think it would do us all good. I know that he's a bit batshit crazy at times. He's also, there's some sense in the law. I feel so deep about the islands. Anyway.
That, do you suspect there are others among us who may also be a bit batshit crazy? Any other discussion on 27? No. 27. And 11 opposed, 27 is approved. 28. See what's on the council ready to appropriate or upgrade the town website. The board recommends $3,000. Moved, seconded, as read. 28. Favor? And opposed. 28 is approved. See what's on the town will vote to raise the program to the support of the board. The select board recommends $5,000 be raised. Any unexpended funds transferred to general assistance capital reserve fund.
So
Moved and seconded and discussion.
That amount, Richard DeVries, 17 Perry Road, that amount has always been $2,000. And unfortunately, we haven't had any homeless people move under the Westport Bridge to come and clean that. So I see no need to increase that beyond 2,000. And I make a motion that 2,000 be raised and the funds not used to be carried over to the following fiscal years.
We have a proposed amendment, to reduce the amount to 2,000. Is there a second? And a second. There is now a motion on the floor. Raise $2,000, any unexpended money carried over to the next fiscal year. Discussion on the amendment.
I put it up to 5,000 for very simple reasons. hopefully we'll never use it. But, general assistance is for those that are really in critical need. And we came darn close this year to having to help somebody who's on its own. If that happens, we have to pay, the amount that's required for, Lincoln County is up to $1,912 a month. We could actually have to serve somebody this month. That's that amount. Yes, it's 70% that we would get back from the state. But in the meantime, we would take out $50,000 and then we have to scramble. The finance person has to figure out where to take the money out so we can get it back again. So what we thought is it made more sense to put it, we got 5,000 we need to cover if we had the house. Look at and those kind of things. They are very expensive. And so we thought that it made more sense to save $5,000. Then if we have to pull it out in order to serve somebody, we're pulling it out of the same account instead of taking the 2,000 here and start to take it somewhere else. If we don't spend that money, and I hope we never have to spend it, if we have to spend that money, then it's spent, but if not, then it goes back in and we'll save it for next year. Things are getting really hard for people. I know we've heard a lot about the homeless situation and it came very, very close this year so far. So, I suggested upping it to 5,000. I talked to, the past they at 26,000 a year. And by the way, no matter what we put it at, if we have somebody who's homeless and we have to pay for them, it doesn't matter what we're doing. We have to serve them. And that means if we have 5,000 and we have to pay 10,000 out to serve them, then we have to do that by law. So in a way, it's a new point what we put here. But we just thought 5,000 made more sense so that, the finance person is not having to move money around.
Okay, George.
I was general assistant administrator for 25 years. And we never went over that. You could go to the contingency account if it's over that 2,000.
Yes, we can. Yes, I'm not arguing that we can't go to another account. What I'm saying is it makes more sense. And also, and then we'll get the money back and put some money in the contingency account, some money, so it was just a matter of making things a little bit simpler for our finance.
You had your hand up?
But if it was a moot point anyway, and the work had to be done anyway, why don't we just leave it the way it is?
Because if we have to use it, then the $5,000 will come out of one place instead of coming out of two places. It's about where the money is coming from.
Previously, I had asked what would happen if the money, we didn't use all the money, we said to go into the surplus. Would that surplus be available to, for assistance to the board?
What we would, I think we have to reserve the job. So it's there for the next year,
That's, I think, would you be able to tap into the?
We don't have in the surplus of that town meeting. So you're approving today, our tapping the surplus, to go over the tax rate. We have to come back and ask for permission to do that. But also, it's state mandated, we have to spend the money. That's just, maybe the point is, 2,000 may have been enough for an incident if we have it. It's no longer. So 5,000, well, if we have a need, it's more likely going to be about 5,000 rather than another 2,000.
I understand that. My question is though, if, let's say we go with the 5,000, if we needed 7,000, would we be able to pull that from the surplus?
We pull it from contingency.
So it would be pulled from.
If we have to, by state law, we have to pull it. It makes it less of a rigmarole with the budget, for the accounts.
I'm very Marshall, I'm legal. Something like Lincoln County had, I think that the Metropolitan Valley's homelessness was almost invisible. And I think the increase in homelessness in Lincoln County over the last 3 years, it's increased. So even if we may not see it, it's there. And we finally be able to put substantial numbers to the state counts of homelessness back in January. And it's, you know, the state, homeless accounts have doubled in the last year, and they tell me there's at least a person up there, so there's supposed to be 30 people, I may not be able to write with my numbers, but we might think it's invisible. And it's there, so we're recognizing that there's a real opportunity here to at least, put some few dollars into it.
Okay,
I have no problem amending it to the 5,000, but could we put in could we put into the article that any unspent funds then go into a capital reserve account, so that we're back to surplus, so that we do build up an account if it is ever needed, versus having it go into unexplained surplus. And have the article amended that way.
you could do that either by amending his amendment, which I would strongly discourage you to do, or after the disposition of his amendment, making one of your own. And I hope you don't want to do that. Yeah.
Richard DeGraves, that's Danbury Road once again. A comment about that we have to, that would prevent us from having to pay for 2 months. At $1,920 a month, that's almost $14,000. So no matter what, if we have a homeless person, and what a homeless person, the requirement is that you can't own any property. You have to be destitute. So, to the statement that we would be able to not have to draw from 2 accounts is not valid, because we still have to do that. And at 2,000, we still have to do that. But to me, at 2,000, the invite to come here and camp on one of our reserves as a homeless person goes down, because there's not such a big number sitting in front of them.
I'd like to close discussion.
Close discussion, not debatable, 2/3 vote. Those in favor of ending discussion on the amendment? Those opposed? Now vote on the amendment to reduce the amount to $2,000. Those in favor of 2,000 as opposed to 5. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those opposed to $2,000. I see a great many more than that. The amendment fails. We're now back to Article 29 at 5,000. We need discussion on that. Yes.
Okay, so there, I see that it's already, said that the transfer to the general reserve capital fund, so, okay, sorry.
Anybody else? Anybody else? 129. Well, this, I can turn another page. Those in favor of Article 29 at $5,000. Those opposed? And Article 29 has passed.
Yeah.
As written. Article 30. To see what's on the town will vote to raise and appropriate for each of the following service organizations. Before you, total amount is $3,415, and that's the amount your selectmen recommend you raise.
Second.
Move to second, $3,415 for service organization. Discussion. Yes.
Simone Buchanan, Main Road. I would like to know why, the select board recommends remove $450 from the maintenance committee action to $0 for the 2024 budget.
Because they didn't reply. I emailed them, called them, and saying, please, do you have a request? And we've got nothing back.
I asked them, have a tried going in person to the office. I know for that, some in foreign parts. and reserve Monday through Friday.
No, we didn't. We usually get them sent to us, they're needing passengers, that's what they've done. And I did speak last year with your executive director. So I was surprised you hadn't done this with you. That's why I emailed, I called, and tried to speak with someone and got on the spot.
From my understanding, there's a lot of work that has to go through with applications for living. For the women, for the children, for low income families, like diapers, basic needs for, families, whatever family can. Support, helping, balance that for low income families, so I would like to bring back this budget.
Okay, just one quick note. Okay, looking at this, I'm not gonna be alive. I pledge those things that help out people, I wouldn't be here, okay? So this is very important. Let's get this thing through, so people who need help. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I haven't heard an amendment. I've heard what you like.
From $0 to go back to $450.
Second.
It has been moved, main mid-coast community action line be restored to $450. Is there a second?
Second.
It is seconded, the amendment is on the floor. Any discussion on the amendment? All right. Being no discussion, voting on the amendment only, to raise main mid-coast community action to $450 for fiscal year 23-24. Those in favor? Opposed? The amendment is passed. The article as amended, now has a total of $3,865. Is there a need for discussion on the amended article? No. If you're in favor of Article 30, all of the organizations listed with mid-coast community action at $450 and the total at $3,865, raise your hand. And opposed. We have passed Article 30. We come now to the midpoint of our warrant. You are. You see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $108,659 for the town share of gas and transfer station operating expenses. And to authorize the select board to negotiate and enter into a contract with the town of Wisconsin on such terms as they deem to be in the best interest of the town. Move and second, Article 31 as I read it. If you're in favor, raise your hand. If you're opposed, you're not. Article 31 is approved. 32. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,092.88 for contracted services with Mid-Coast Humane for shelter services at their Edgecombe campus. Moved and seconded. $1,092.88 for Mid-Coast Humane shelter services.
So what is it? What, we have a per animal, we can bring them there, or? Thank you.
Animal control catches them, already approved that. They take them. You're required to have disposition of your unwanted animals and these people can buy it. Yes.
Like that, be required by law to have.
Yeah.
That's all for
Anybody else? $1,092.88. Mid-Coast Humane. Opposed? And passed. 33. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $4,746 for resident status for Westport Island residents at the Wisconsin Community Center. Moved, seconded. Seeing no debate, those in favor? Those opposed? And passed, resident status at the community center. 34. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $24,401 as requested by the Wisconsin Ambulance Service. Select board recommend you do this. Moved, seconded. $4,401 Wisconsin Ambulance. In favor? Against? And approved. 35, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $5,263 as requested by the Wisconsin Public Library. Moved and seconded. Library 5263 in favor. Opposed? Approved. 36. To see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for snow removal and the procurement of sand and salt. Select board recommends $203,625 be available, of which $158,625 is for contracted winter plowing services, $35,000 for sand and transportation, and $10,000 for salt. This money to be transferred from the state highway fund and the motor vehicle excise tax fund. Motion?
Second.
And second. Article 36. Yes.
Question, who will be plowing our road this winter?
Contract with the warden, lowest full bidder, and William lowest bidder.
Buddy up. 36. Persons voting in favor, raise your hand. And opposed. 36 is approved. No. 37. To see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to transfer $6,600 from the sand and salt shed operating account to a capital reserve account for future maintenance on the sand and salt shed. I have a motion to approve and a second. Discussion? Those in favor of Article 37? And those against? And 37 is also passed. 38, to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for maintenance of town roads and bridges. The road commissioner and the select board recommended $60,000 unspent in fiscal year 23 be transferred from the unallocated surplus, and that $120,000 be raised and appropriated for a total $180,000 in maintenance of town roads and bridges.
With regards to the unallocated surplus, when we get through all of these articles, how much will be remaining?
What's left? Well, how much we expect to have left?
Yeah,
I'm not sure, partially because what I gave you was basically, but it was somewhere around 300,000. Is where we, I just want to say, I want to get that number back. And Richard's question is important because it's recommended by our auditors and the MMA that we have at least 250 to 270,000 in unallocated surplus.
Yeah.
That makes it big. Is there any sort of plan going forward as to what things will be done and what order? Should you share that? Yes. Give Mike a Jim.
Still want a good figure. Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Yep, here we go.
I have this document ready for the public. As far as pitching on Foul Point Road, Stokel Road, and pitching of Calvin on Post Office Road. Two stop rating of the road I want to. I have plans to regrade several areas of the island that are full of potholes that are coming back. It's been almost 2 months since they've been graded. Adding 500 yards of gravel. And that will be on a variety of roads. And that's something I think should be done every year. That I'll be proposing every year, 500 yards. Replacing 4 culverts on Bay Shore Road and ditching and the addition of gravel to the entire length of the road, 3,925 feet. The roadside mowing will be taking place the end of July, start of August. This for Wednesday will be out sometime in July. All other issues will be addressed as they arise. I want to carry 25 to 30,000 through the winter. So in the spring, we can get spring grading done and have some money should we have another storm. Trying to find a solution for the freighter in front of Gary Cromo's house. I'm gonna meet with Gary, we're gonna find a permanent solution rather than a patch. I'm not a big proponent of just patching stuff. I'd rather have lasting improvements and repairs. The road improvement project is on schedule for July, the paving. Greenleaf Road and a section of East Shore Road. The next phase of the road improvement project. Will probably not be financed due to increasing interest rates. I think next year I'll be back and ask for an appropriation over and above the road maintenance for road improvement, the road improvement project. And to keep that moving forward, because I look around and I see a lot of people pay taxes and the roads really the only benefit they get the tax dollar. If anybody can find numbers on the website, I know most every selectman meeting, I'm readily available for anybody's concerns, complaints, concerns. Both available. Thank you.
You want to stress what to do if somebody finds a tree down?
If it's a tree down, if the wire is low, first call you need to make it for 911. The second call,
Then the second call you can make to me or 911 will probably call me anyway, it was the fire department. And would remind me, I need to thank the fire department for all their efforts on road during these storms. Jeff, that's been a big asset. And Randy Russell, it's a community team that you've got to put together that has been, got us through all these storms and events. But trees, call 911, it's just wires all short. If there's no wires, then the girls at the town office relay all messages. They get, when because people call the town office. It is first one, they call it. Right. None of this can be done without their help, that's why they're critically important function for us, even the roads, is your part.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, Article 38? The only if you're in favor of $180,000. Town roads and bridges. And anyone opposed? Article 38 passes unanimously. 39, see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for paving as recommended by the road commissioner. And the road commissioner recommends $25,000. Seconded, $25,000 paving. In favor? Against? Again, unanimous approval, Article 39. 40. See if the town will vote to have $295,000 in available funds to complete phase 2 of the long-term paving program, which will involve paving the designated sections of Greenleaf and East Shore Road, and the post-paving work when the paving is completed. Road Commissioner and the Select Board recommend $115,000 raised and appropriate, $173,856.84 in unspent long-term paving funds be carried forward, and an additional $6,143,000.16 be transferred from unallocated surplus for a total of $290,000 available for this. Moved and seconded, Article 40 as read with the accompanying notes. In favor? Opposed? 40 is passed, completes the road section and gives up to the 2/3 mark in the day. 41. See what's on the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the Westport Volunteer Fire Department. The fire department requests a sum of $69,000 for operating expenses, training, and members' stipend, and both the fire department and the select board recommend approval. Moved and seconded, 41 as read. In favor? Opposed? Passed. 42. See what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate to the fire department to be covered by the Maine Municipal Association workers' compensation, liability insurance, and blanket insurance for responders. Fire department, select board recommends $7,497 to be raised for this purpose.
Second.
And that is moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, persons voting in favor. Opposed? Article 42 approved. 43. See what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the purpose of creating a fire department capital reserve fund. This will be used for capital projects, such as firefighting, water cisterns, replacement of vehicles, and so forth, that would fall outside of normal operating costs. The fire department and select board recommend you raise $35,000 for this purpose. And I have a motion and a second to approve it as read.
Can we make a quick discussion? Stacy Hutchison, Fire Chief. My intent with this warrant item is to create a separate account. 10 years ago, when we bought a fire truck, it was $280,000. To replace that truck today would cost $480,000. So my intent with this capital reserve is to create a separate account and to grow this every year so that 10 years from now, you could have, $350,000, $400,000 towards buying a new vehicle, or in case something catastrophic. This is not intended to be, oh, we need a little bit more money this month. This is for big ticket items, new trucks, cisterns, things of that nature. But to grow an account because we don't want to have to go take a loan out for a full amount because 10 years from now, probably when we need something, who knows what that would cost. So we're trying to be proactive, have some money hidden so that when we need to move, we can move rapidly towards it. So this is kind of that long-term goal to grow a pot of money so that we can use that in the future. Okay, question?
beloved chief, Michael Trask, has done this for decades.
Where I got my idea from last year.
You may be more likable than him.
He does that.
This goes in the paper. Okay. Opposed? Get back. As we 44. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $800 for the purchase of equipment for the emergency management assistance program to install the Starlink internet service for emergency communications capability when the Spectrum internet is unavailable during power outages and other incidents. The equipment is mobile, enabling EMA and fire department personnel to establish communication capability on site at emergency incidents. Recommended by the EMA director and the select board, raise and appropriate $800 for this work.
I will second.
I have a motion, I have a second. How many yellow cards do I have? In favor? Opposed? $800. Article 45. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,320 for the annual subscription to the Starlink internet service. The EMA director and the select board recommend approval.
I will second.
Moved and seconded, 1320 to pay for our report. In favor? Opposed? And approved.
Chris, can I ask, Jason Cates, who's the chair of our broadband committee, to kind of give an update on broadband?
Over the last 8 years, we've been working on trying to do the broadband extension projects. We've worked both at 2 times on special town meetings to allocate funds. I really appreciate that. This last almost this spring it was finished, where the southern part of the island is not wired. As part of the spectrum is finished wiring, that's the part of the island. So in theory, all parts of the island are covered. The exception are the northern parts of the previously covered. There's some addresses and where there was very long driveways for spectrum design service. So there's future grants that are available that we can look into, but we need people to step up and tell us that they can't get internet. There's the resident, but everyone in the south part of the island now has fiber optic internet, so they just blind protection issues. Are not an issue in the south part of the control. So if anyone wants spectrum, they can't get spectrum, please let me know so we can do that. And I'd really like to thank Cal Newman, Kate Stooley, Jeff Farlock, Jack Swan, and Rob Baker for all that effort, along with Lindy County Planning Authority for their all their work they put into this. It's a multi-year and a lot of things.
Thank you.
We are 75% done. Question?
The Starlink service that we be available to residents in case of an emergency, or is that like a secured system?
Basically, the Starlink we're doing is we're mounted the fire station, and it's going to be serving the fire station, but it's not required at like a hazmat situation. So, right now, we did the fire department has a few radios that can receive pages. They take them, they convert it into basically text messages that go out with the audio information to the firefighters. So whatever contractor does maintenance, or they do, or there's an issue where their pole broken somewhere before,
we go offline so that we don't get all the alerts. We should know this with that car, it also affects with cat ambulance and, Exxon, we provide service that come good. So it's gonna be mounted at the fire station right now, and there's a guest Wi-Fi, so if you want to go camp outside the fire station in the car, they can get on guest Wi-Fi, get on internet, and when the rest of the internet down, so it'll be available for residents, so I make the switch over to my board. If we have a hazardous situation, obviously, we're gonna take that off the roof, we're gonna get it quickly, so we can all now take it and bring it in, you know, the EMA, we have this big trailer, and then down it, we can bring it to hazmat. But all it has is radius, it does not have any inherent capabilities, and hazmat could be a multi-week issue, so. The thought was we could pick it up, we could put it on the trailer, we have generators, and, we have internet and create access at that spot. So, but day-to-day, when we require, you know, for other people, we just find the internet. Inspect now.
We made the leap in the grant section today. What? With Article 46. See if the town will vote to authorize the select board or the treasurer acting in concurrence with the select board to apply for state, federal, and other grants on behalf of the town for purposes deemed by the select board to be in the best interest of the town. So moved and seconded. As read, pretty straightforward. Those in favor? Anybody opposed? 46 passes. 47. To see if the town will vote to authorize the creation of a capital reserve grant matching fund and raise and appropriate the sum for this grant matching fund. Recommended by the select board that $10,000 be raised for this purpose.
So
Moved and seconded by my reliable front row.
Richard DeBree, 17 Ferry Road. The importance of this is that when the ferry landing grants were being put together, there was a requirement for a matching fund. And at that time, we didn't have these funds available. So Linda and I wrote a $3,500 check to provide the matching funds so we could get the grant for the ferry landing purchase and building of the ramp and purchasing of the house.
Anybody else? Article 47. If you like it, raise your hand. Okay, anybody against? 47 has passed. 48. See if the town will vote to authorize the municipal officers to accept the Community Resilience Partnership Grant funds, $48,500 awarded to the town, and to authorize their expenditure for the purpose of an island groundwater study. Both the Conservation Commission and the Select Board recommend approval. So, moved and seconded as read. In favor? Vote. Article 48 passes unanimously. 49. See if the town will vote to authorize the municipal officers to accept the municipal shellfish mini grant funds of $3,800 awarded to the town and to authorize their expenditure for the purpose of funding a green crab trapping program. Shellfish Committee and the Select Board recommend your approval. Moved and seconded. Favor? And opposed? We can intimidate not easily when we get there. Fifth. Shall the town apply for and accept the $50,000 grant with no funds to the town from the State Community Resilience Partnership to study vulnerable town road crossings at Tidal Inlet for projected sea level rise and enhanced storm surge through 2100 due to climate change. Conservation Commission, the Select Board recommend approval. Moved. Seconded as read. Article 50. In favor? Opposed? 50 is approved. 51. Shall the current shellfish conservation ordinance as amended in 2018 be repealed? And an ordinance entitled Shellfish Conservation Ordinance as revised 2023 be enacted. Copy of the ordinance is posted together with this warrant and hereby incorporated into this warrant by reference. The Shellfish Committee and the Select Board recommend.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Yes.
And speak on this ordinance.
You may.
Hi, I'm Julie Lee, and I am representing the Shellfish Committee. I would like to just give a few brief outlines of this new ordinance so that everybody here doesn't have to read all 20-something pages of the ordinance, maybe in the last month. I don't want everybody to have to go through line by line because it's a big change to the last ordinance. A lot of what was in the last ordinance is there, but it's in a different form, so comparing and contrasting is a little confusing. But the Shellfish Committee has been working with the Department of Marine Resources to revise the ordinance. It was not 100% our idea. They actually came to us because we met with the new personnel there and our new marine resource officer. And because we didn't have as much enforcement in it, they wanted a BPO ordinance. So we made a BPO ordinance to them, and there's just a few things in there that we have added. They wanted more enforcement. Other towns have more enforcement, so we put in more enforcement because we want to really conserve our resources. This past year, last year we closed McCarty Cove because we needed it. So McCarty Cove was closed until 2024 because we want to really have a good location for our shellfish fishermen. Another thing that we did was we added more species to our shellfish. We added in, along with the surf clams and the cohogs, which we seeded, we added in oysters because with oysters growing in our area, they can free flow, something can escape, and if you want to pick up an oyster, you actually do need a license. So that isn't there. Another thing that we did was we added in the conservation credits because when commercial fishermen do come to our town office to purchase licenses, we want to make sure that those who have done the conservation credits with us and have had licenses for longer, they get first priority. They're working hard to help us and they're coming out and doing conservation work, so they deserve the license first. A big change to the licenses, if it is approved, is actually a help to the town office. Our licenses have always gone on sale May 1st. That is a busy time for the club. That is a busy time for the town office. People are coming in and purchasing licenses when they're trying to get ready for this meeting. They're trying to get ready for the election. In your annual report is a report of all the licenses sold, along with all the other licenses. Shellfish report is always on an odd year compared to the rest of the year, which is in fiscal year of the town, which is July 1 through June 30th. So we asked BMR if starting in 2024, if our licenses can go on sale July 1st through June 30th. So if approved, the reporting will match the rest of the year, and new licenses won't go on sale until July 1st. It will be easier for the clerk after this. The other thing is, so then all the dates of reporting and our requests will change a little bit. Another final thing that is different in our ordinance is we're adding another category of licensing. So with residents, and it only affects residential. With in regards to residents and non-residents, is whatever we do for residents, we have to do at least 10% for non-residents. So we have always had just 4 non-resident licenses. So that could happen is a license is available for a year. So we could have someone come in and say, let's say it's fire Starbucks in, or they could come in through an Airbnb and they could come in June. And let's say they come from California, a non-resident. they could purchase a license because they're like experiencing the main way of life for a weekend and want to try clamming. We sell them a non-resident license. Out of the 4 non-resident licenses, that license is gone for an entire year. And then let's say they choose to turn it in, but many of them leave and don't. And then maybe one of your grandchildren comes and wants to spend a couple of weeks with you for the summer, and we've sold all 4 licenses. So we don't have a license for you to purchase for a year. So what we're doing, and we got permission from DMR, is to sell 3-day licenses. So we're gonna hope, if we prove this, is get 16 3-day licenses. And because we have to operate to both resident and non-resident, we'll have 8 and 8. And if you want to try it just for a weekend or not purchase a license for the year, but you know what? Summer, I want to just try it once in the summer. You know what? I don't really like it because I'm felt in my face first. Believe me, I've done that. I've been face planted. You'll be able to finish a license. So this will allow us, if someone wants to have some stay with us for the summer, to get that or that year-long license, or have their grandchildren go to them on a regular basis. Those are the primary. There's more definitions in there, but it's primarily enforcement and the change of license. That's the summation. And I hope you go for a new one, for the new word.
Anybody else on Article 51, changes to the Shellfish Conservation Order? In favor of making these changes? And those opposed? We have convinced them all. It's approved. If the town will authorize the select board to set the state the lowest bidding nation. If 2 acres of land, tax map 2, lot 42, known as the Old Town Dump, and recorded in the Lincoln County Registry of Deeds in book 1532, page 127, and to further authorize the select board to execute any documents related to the acceptance of said gift on such terms and conditions as it deems advisable. The land is subject to the study funded by the U.S. Department of Environmental Protection, available for review and inspection at the clerk's office, and will be available and is available at today's town meeting. We also had a note from the town attorney. If the town is in the chain of title of a property that it once owned and operated as a landfill, the state and federal government will look to the town for cleanup liability if there ever is release that landfill or levels of pollution in that landfill, which generate concerns by regulators. If the town closed it under a state program, the town likely is under an obligation to maintain the integrity of the landfill cap as by regular mowing and prevention of any vegetative growth like trees that would damage or undermine the clay cap. So it's probably not a bad idea for the town to own the former landfill property in order to maintain the landfill and control the site to limit potential liability. And selling it did not eliminate the town's potential liability. Select board recommended approval of Article 52, the town accept this gift, the Old Town Dump. Moved and seconded. Now, if at any time during this discussion, which many of us, there will be brief, if it's necessary for an out-of-town resident to speak, Ms. Gay Wagner will make a disruptive noise in the back, just on my attention. And we will call on that. I see a hand here.
As someone who used to shoot rats in that old dump. I was very surprised to see that a house was put there. So I'm wondering what property exactly where this is, because my understanding is that that property was sold off and it had the residence on.
I think, Jack, there's properties on either side of the dump.
There were bills since have to be done, but there's no house to be done.
There's a whole bunch of property north of the, but that was never used as a dump, so
That's right.
this seems like a very safe thing to require. That's all I want to say. Because where the problem is somebody lives.
It's my understanding that the clay cap does not extend out to the road and that there's a potential for leakage into the dump between the road and the clay cap. Is there any plans to look into that? Because that to me could be a potential problem.
We did have, you've seen the report, we did have somebody just looked at, last year. And, as far as we know, there's no potential change. But owning it means that we can make sure that people stay out of it. We have to get a lot of it.
Any other questions? Appear not to have to vote our out of town. Bigger. So Article 52, seems clear, the way it's planned, you know where it is, the old town dump. Town is taking ownership of it. Those in favor, raise your hands. Those opposed, Article 52, and it's read, no, it's passed. 53. See if the town will allow a committee to pursue the creation of a community recreational area using property already belonging to the town. Select board recommends to approve this. Moved and seconded.
If I can, first of all, I want to say that, for those of you who know me, I've been working on this project since day one. I'm trying to figure out a place that we can have a playground. We looked at the ferry landing, we, had pros and cons about that, we looked at the town hall. And just recently, we discovered that there are 18 acres that the town owns. We're not paying any taxes on it or anything else, it's just 18 beautiful acres. So for the past few months, we've been trying to investigate how we can access that, and we're still working on that. We have 3 plans. The first plan fell through. It's bordered by, on 2 sides by Rumco, 1 side by the main road, and it happens unfortunately to be on that curve. Some people know it as Mosher Hill. And then in the middle of that, there's the 1 by 1 acre that is owned by Maine Yankee. Our third option is to look at the house, the property that was just bought. Go down Mosher Hill, you see old stakes with markers there. That's where the driveway is going to be. At the bottom of the hill there, for the new homeowner. So if Jen right now been working with us as well as Dennis to see if we can figure out what the frontage is and whether we can by law get DOT to approve an open there. If not, then our third option is to see if we can get the new owner getting ready to build. If we can't build off of that and kind of into 98 acres. And with that 18 acres, you know, we would have an area, picnic area for people. We would have a little playground for the little ones, but also trails and that kind of thing. Many of you fill out a survey that we had done thanks to Judy and Becky. And created a survey for us, and I know several of you filled it out. So this is in response to that. And so the way I like to amend it is to say, just add at the end to say, and accept donations to support the project. We're not looking for any money from the town, but we are looking for donations. And I know Davies is left, but Davies Allen actually walked the road with me to look at where it could possibly be acceptable. And we had seen a couple places, and if DOT would approve it, he was already willing to help us clear the areas for the community. So we're looking, if we can access the plan, if not, we're back to looking for donations for are looking for any place where we could put in a playground and other, recreational areas. We don't really want to call it a playground, it's still use, probably. Whatever. We're looking really at a recreational area for community recreation area for everybody. So, my amendment should read, just as you have it, and accept donations to support the project. Because we cannot, as a town, accept donations without doing good.
Is there a second to that? As amended, the article would now read, see if the town will allow a committee to pursue the creation of a community recreational area using property already belonging to the town and to accept donations in support of such a project. Discussion on the amendment. In support of or against the amendment, any discussion? Okay, those in favor of the amendment? Oh, the amendment is added to the original article. Discussion on the article. Is agreed.
One of the things that we did for the ferry landing, we put out a questionnaire to all the residents in the town to get their feedback on such a proposal. And I would recommend that that committee do that as well for this project. Because if we don't have enough interest in it, then, no donations would be great, but if nobody's going to use it, we need to know more about how the residents of this town feel about such a proposal.
And I do want to say that we have already done a survey, developed by, Becky and Judy, that went out to everybody. I know Dee was giving it out at the town office. And so we do have quite a few responses, but to your comment about the community, this started, I brought it to the WCA, that I'm a member of, and that was a subcommittee for a while. But we just talked at our last meeting that really it should be another committee, and we would definitely need different people to do it. For example, for clearing, so that we could get, even a place to have on the parking lot. We need certain people for that, which is what we would need for, somebody who wants to design some little walking trails. And we do have our, but for me, this would be a huge community project, and we would want different people, available, depending on what the situation is. Right now, the number one issue is Fenway Access to Park, 18 beautiful acres, that we own as a town, and right now we can't access it, and upgrading the heck out of it. But so I agree that it would definitely be a good committee, but probably.
But I haven't seen the question.
Okay, Article 53 as amended. In favor? Opposed? 53 is approved. 54. To see if the town, in accordance with 36 MRSA, section 505(1), will vote that the tax list specified in 36 MRSA, section 709, be committed for collection on or before September 1st, 2023. Seconded. Commitment on or before September 1st. In favor? Yes. Approved. 55. See if the town will vote to set October 17th. That's my birthday, people. Clearly, and failing health and mental decline. If the town will vote to set October 17th, 2023 as the date when property taxes become due and payable, and to fix a rate of interest at 5.5% per annum to be charged on the unpaid amounts beginning October 18th, 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded as read.
I would like to ask you to talk about that for a second.
All right, so my purpose of changing it, because it's a little bit different than it's been in the past, is I'm just trying to get all of the dates for taxes on a specific timeline, so that we know every year when tax bills are due, when a lien would be placed, and when a foreclosure would happen. With how stuff's been done in the past, and I think in this year, there's gonna be 2 foreclosures that happened just because they weren't on a consistent timeline. And I feel that people that aren't able to pay their taxes to be able to have that spread out as much as possible versus telling them, you know, twice in 1 year, you have the potential of losing your home. I just want to try to get everything spread out to give them as much time as they can, staying within the legal timeframe set by the state.
A question, Treasurer. One of the things that I signed this past year was something that guaranteed that my taxes, real estate taxes wouldn't go up, and a whole lot of us over 65 did that. What is the status of that in the state? Is they repealing that, or?
That I think Ross might know more, because that was him and Evan that were working on it. I don't personally know much, because I would get the information kind of once it's in the computer as to who's gonna get that, so that I'll know who's being taxed on at what rate. But last I knew, we didn't have anything specific from the state of Maine. We all know they like to kind of pass things without all the follow through. So we're still kind of waiting, I think, on all the details from them regarding how it's being funded year to year.
I still don't have the information on that.
The legislature is looking at options to change it. As far as I know, in the news last year that it's been done in the wire, nothing's changed. So that's still going forward. Those applications should be followed through.
Thank you.
I believe you have to apply every year, annually.
But it may change who is eligible to apply, that's what I think.
Is the legislature actually wanting to know? Is that was the here, or passed it, the appointed and might, you know, see the thing. The last year's bill did provide funding for the first year. But it's, to the best of my knowledge, there's been nothing received or sent out. Maybe waiting to see if the cost, we don't even know what the cost is going to be to the towns in Lock Weather yet. But that was what was originally in the bill. Maybe
My understanding that cap is this year, not last year.
no, but on this bill, that's right.
Think that it's on last year's tax rate and your taxes this year won't go up based on that. It's not. It's gonna be on this year's tax. I believe.
You have to get it in before April 1st is your deadline for your new commitment. So it would apply if you had to apply by December, it would be for your upcoming year. You typically apply for something in a current tax commitment because the town's already budgeted based on those funds, so they couldn't reduce them in the middle of that. So if you apply to December, at the end of December was the deadline, and it'll apply to what comes due this fall.
Ready to vote? In favor? Opposed? Article 55, approved. 56. See if the town, in accordance with 36 MRSA section 506, to authorize the tax collector and treasurer to accept the prepayment of taxes not yet committed. Moved and seconded. In favor? Opposed? Approved. 57. See if the town will vote pursuant to 36 Maine Revised Statute, section 506A, to set an interest rate of 1% to be paid on overpaid or paid. Moved and seconded. In favor? Opposed? 57 is passed. 58. To see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to reimburse tax abatements and applicable interest granted during the 2023 fiscal year from the overlay. Seconded. Persons voting in favor, raise your card. Opposed? 58 is approved. 59. To see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to dispose of tax acquired property according to state statute. This is required by state law. Vote on this. Moved and seconded. Disposal of tax acquired property. Yes.
It's my understanding, the town sold off a piece of property about 2 years ago that was, for an out of state resident, and they kept all the funds, even when the tax. They just ruled that as illegal, are we gonna, we have a contingency to pay so many people back? I don't know that this board has knowledge of that, okay? But basically, you can always sell it off for the tax value, if it's over. I mean, access to the returns off.
But I think that's on a new law, because I know in the past, it could be done that way.
The Supreme Court has ruled out.
Right, but that was like moving forward, but I know that
It's gonna call back on law, they will, that will come to the nation.
we'll have to see if they send anything for us to go back to pay it back.
We might need to have some contingency going with that.
Anybody else? Article 59. In favor? Opposed? With that, 59, and we come to Article 60. If the town will vote to authorize the select board to authorize overdrafts, not to exceed $15,000. That may occur in town operations during the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, to be taken from unappropriated surplus. Moved and seconded again. Article 60, yes.
Question, one of the laws is that overspending of an account cannot exceed 5% of the value of that account. Does that $15,000 meet that law?
It would depend upon the account.
Right.
So
I give you a blanket is really inappropriate and unlawful.
I don't think we're planning on breaking the law.
For those. That's great. Everybody's going to stay honest this year. Okay, any other discussion on Article 60? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed?
Chris, before we move on to the next article, I just would like to recognize Ross Norton, who's retiring from the select board this year, 15 years of service. I think he deserves a kind of appreciation. I think we should give him a round of applause.
Recognize Bill Fleming. When you go around and see graveyards that are in immaculate condition, it's Bill that's doing it. Please stand up, Bill.
Yeah.
All business that may legally come to Some great soul may now rise to make a motion and adjourn.
Move.
Meeting, your assent to this motion on Article 61 will be received while you're leaving the building.
I understand.